following is intended to provoke thought and challenge our assumptions. The opinions we hold are subject to change based on new and valid information. Your discretion is advised.
You know, it's weird. Like, I don't like sport climbing at all.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't get into it. I love trad climbing. I can't really get into climbing unless I am like fucking tripping. Like if I'm scared and I'm on like that off width, like that first pitch is just a burl.
What off with?
That off width me and Janet did out in Corte Madera.
Oh, okay.
I'll go 10A, but you're like, 10A off width. You're like thrutching.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you think it's because you place your own gear? Like that's why you like trad more, or?
I don't know if it's because I place my own gear. I don't know if it's the style of climbing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel safer on trad.
A lot of people do. You don't really know how they install the bolts.
Yeah, no, I know the bolts because I work in construction. I just like it that I get to place the gear when I get to place the gear. I don't like climbing up to where someone else felt comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's weird. And I also don't feel very secure face climbing.
You like the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard from people. They really like the security of cracks, and I never understood that.
I love it. Once you get locked in, you're like, oh, I'm not going. These aren't fun. These aren't coming out. Yeah.
I haven't quite felt that. And then when I am locked in, today I went up that crack, that sick crack, or we went up two cracks. One was like a 5'9" slab that led to a dihedral crack.
The start, on the far right.
Yeah, that one was good.
That was a fun crack where you kind of stem up. Like you don't really have to use the crack too much.
Yeah, I pulled on it and then just like stemmed up.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the one that we did the hard slab on, there was like a lie.
And that's like a climb or two left of that one, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah,
so I kind of lay backed on it, and then that's when I was able to just like lock my hand, and I was like, I'm secure here. But for whatever reason, I mean, you saw me on Baby Robbins, like I just can't figure out the hand jam, like the fingers and locks. I'm like, I got this.
Because you're a sport, you can get that. Because you're like, oh, my fingers can handle this hard pull.
Yeah. But my hands, not quite yet.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. We were out there, and I was just like, man, I hate climbing so much.
That's how I felt on it. Well, me and Janet.
But I love it too.
Yeah, me and Janet went out on I don't know, a couple days, like maybe it was like Thursday. And I had just a high gravity day. Had a bad day.
That was at ECM.
Yeah, not a good day for me.
What's that mean, high gravity?
I was heavy.
Oh, that makes sense.
I just wouldn't have gone climbing, man. I should have stayed home and rested. Just tired. I think too much work. My hands were killing me because I've been climbing trees all week. Like this guy knows I'm back in town, and I used to be his arborist, and so I'm just going up and throwing ropes and like climbing trees and cutting trees down. And I was like, I had to do a bunch of palm trees, and I had all these thorns just lodged in my hand, all these palm thorns.
Burning.
Well, I didn't know I was gonna go do that, and all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, drive my truck. I forgot my gloves. I forgot like all my PPE, so I just like roughed it. I was like in short sleeves all day, like work boots and jeans.
Oh.
And just.
Not only that, but El Cajon, it's like you got a long approach, and then if you're not feeling great coming back, it's a long way back. And did you guys?
I supported her up the whole way. Well, what happened was I forgot, grabbed the wrong. I forgot the chalk bag because my other one was in my pack from when me and her went to Ensenada. And
so you didn't have chalk? Oh, dude.
Climbing 10 plus El Cajon.
And it's so hot.
It was a pretty warm day, and so what happened?
Yeah, Thursday was hot.
I'm like 10B, whatever. It was like, but it was thin. I knew it. Like I knew my beta. Like I was following what her beta was because I was watching her off the play. I ended up finding another beta, and I was like, oh, my finger's gonna pop on this. Like, don't do it. And I started going for it. And my fingers popped, and I knuckle dragged this thing.
Oh, I see it.
I gutted it, dude, and it was just blood splattering everywhere. I had blood all over my shirt. There was blood all over my pants. There was blood all over the wall, and I lost my cool.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck. I'm like, sorry, Janet. I was like, and then I just have blood everywhere, and I'm like, shit. Like, how am I gonna get up this? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, aid climb up this?
Yeah. You can't really use her chalk bag now. It's gross.
I climbed up to the top, supported her on Tears of Envy, and I was like, I'm not climbing it. And then we had the rope up there. I was like, if you want to give it a burn, give it a burn. Gave her Blay on there, like as like a, just I wasn't super negative, but I wasn't like a ball of fun. I was pretty frustrated, so.
It just wasn't the right day. So Tears of Envy, is that a link up to like, so you climb something else to link
It's
up
at the very top. I mean, we climbed a lot of cool stuff. Like we climbed the start was like Diamond of San Diego. I think like 5'9". D, fuck, dude, hard.
590?
Yeah, so hard, dude. It was so sketchy. I guess it was 5'9". It was just the style was like, the style was sketchy, like really bouncy, really precarious positioning.
Oh, Janet said the first climb was a terrifying climb.
It was really scary. Like hands, like dude, like I said, I never seen Janet climbing the way that she's climbing.
Yeah.
She's just on beast mode, and she is bold.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where you're like, I almost feel like you're too bold for your own good sometimes. I'm like, you sure you want to try to climb this?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
What was terrifying about it? Because literally some of the scariest climbs I've ever been on have been all under 5'9". One in Joshua Tree and one in Valley of the Moon. There's like a 5'6" that's like, I'm on the third bolt, but if I fall, I'm breaking my ankles.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, part of it, like, there was a ledge. The other thing that was weird about, like, you get up, like, you climb up off the belay, off of it, like, you have to climb up, like, kind of a slabby area, up onto a really, really difficult, like, bouldery move up into it, and then you get your first clip. And then from there, you have to, like, it's really sketchy. Like, you kind of step up onto this steep, slick ramp. Because that's the problem with the whole thing. Like, the whole thing is thin. The whole thing is slick. Nothing's positive on the whole thing. And it's like, every single time you get to a bolt, like, you're, like, questioning, like I'm kind of in deck territory. And it's not good because
sounds like Mission Gorge.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're falling, like, you're climbing up a ramp this way, and now you're climbing up a ramp this way. And so if you fall here, you're swinging.
Whoa.
And the way that you're swinging, like, and you're swinging into like this overhanging boulder because it's like a giant block. It's like a 40-foot block, and yeah, it's just.
And it's fun. I take it neither of you fell.
On that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it just becomes so much headier, even though you have the skill to do it. It doesn't matter. It's like the headiness of like the consequence of what I'm doing is super high.
Yeah, that's why I get into trad climbing, like big hardcore trad climbing. I love that because I'm like, oh yes, like
I can put a piece of gear wherever I want.
And also, no, it's not even that. It's just like, oh cool, like I'm in a no fall. At least I know where I stand. I'm like, all right, well I'm in a no fall zone, and I'm in a place where like I have something that's not super delicate. It's not something I'm gonna pop out of, and that's what's so cool about crowd climbing that people don't get. It's like you get your hand in there, and if you're like holding on for dear life, like you're not coming out of the crack. Now on a top rope, you're coming out of the crack. On follow, you're coming out. On lead.
Why is that? Is it because of the direction?
Or on solo, you're just not coming out. It's just fear. You're not letting go. You're just like, and that's what's so cool about lead. People don't get that. They're like, why are people so obsessed with lead? And it's like, well, if you're not leading, then you're not climbing your best form.
I agree.
You're slopping.
There's it doesn't matter if you're giving it your all. There is an element of you are aware that you're not.
Oh, dude.
The consequence is not that high.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, sucks that you had a shitty day.
It ended up being a good. I mean, it was cool.
Like,
it was cool that I got to support my partner.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool that I got to go up and climb. It was a sick link up. I was like, dude, get Sanan out there.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said this is like my climb.
Yeah. That was what I said at the beginning, because she asked me if I wanted to go, and she told me what she was looking at, and I looked at what she was going at, and I was like, and you had messaged me, I was like, dude, why don't you hit up Sanan? Like you guys, I think you guys are a lot better of a pair on this link up. Like I think you guys could just fucking just romp.
Yeah, I
have
just
a
can't
blast.
Bail out on Thursday.
Yeah, you couldn't get out early. You could only get out after a certain time.
And only like within a certain time period.
And so I told her, I was like, all right, well I'll go. And then I just didn't expect. And then I've been playing around in this like new relationship thing. So
congrats.
I was like out. You know what I mean? I was out chilling until probably like later than I should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
when you have to get up early.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 1 a.m. I'm up at 6 to be at ECM at like I think 7. But I don't know what time we got there.
You have to get there early.
7:15, maybe 6:15. I can't remember how early we got there.
Gross.
Yeah,
that's pretty gross. Yeah, and ECM is an all-day thing. Like even if you get there at 6, you're not coming back to like 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Yeah. When time did you get back?
I needed to be back for a friend's birthday by 3, so we got back at about 3.
Okay,
but
that's also hard if you have a time element.
Yeah, and then the person bailed. The person can't bailed on their own birthday plans that they made. Oh fuckers,
dude! No. Especially if that's like on your mind, weighing on you while you're climbing. That there's some time element. That
I knew we had plenty of time. I think what happened was like I just was out of sorts. You know, like forgetting the chalk bag. I'm like, man, like.
all these little layers.
All those little things kind of added up, and I was just like, what it comes down to is that I'm tired. And I was like, man, I'm just tired. And I was tired to the point, not like sleepy tired, but just like fatigue, like you know. And I was like, man, like, you're too tired to enjoy climbing, but also like a good enough climbing partner. I was like, oh, well, I'm not sick.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'll go up and try to be as like good of a mood as possible.
And you can follow and.
That's what I did, yeah.
So you see, you said Tears of Envy. You said, what's it rated?
I think it's 11B.
11B. No.
Stout.
Sounds cool.
Solid.
Yeah. Big jugs.
Pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good jugs. Very balancy. Very powerful.
Does sound like my climb.
Oh, it's good. Dude, it is good. Like when you look at the line.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Is there pictures on Mountain Project?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
The guy who put it up is one of the main developers, named Brian Spywak. Great guy, puts up amazing lines. And yeah, Mountain. I think Elko Mountain was one of his it was like his big comeback, like his midlife crisis comeback in life. So yeah, it's a gem.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know people, world class climbers like that go back to Elko. Like my buddy's a guide. His name's Jake, and I remember he messaged me a couple months ago, and he's a hard climber. Like he sent like a 12C.
Fuck.
You know, like a year or two ago. So he's probably getting close to like 513. You know, on lead. And,
I think once you're getting to the 13 range, you're really talking like you're separated from the pack. Like that is like
you are climbing it very hard.
Yeah, you are like 12s. That's like expert. 13, that's like elite.
Master. And he came back and he's like, dude, I sent Tears of Envy. I climbed Tears of Envy yesterday. And I was like, that's really weird. Like someone who like he sent Pockets of Resistance at Elko Mountain. It's supposed to be one of the best 512s in the country. It's like 12C. I think they have it at 12B, but Randy Levitt rated it at 12B. So people who've done it since are like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, this is 12C. And he sent Pockets of Resistance, which is 12C. So it climbs like the very, so you have the arete of Triton Tower over here, and then you have the arete of Triton Tower over here. It goes up that beautiful dark brown, purplish, unbelievable arete.
I think I've seen pictures.
It's unbelievable. And so it's weird hearing him, like somebody who sent Pockets is coming back being like, dude, I sent Tears of Envy. I'm like, how good of a 11B is this? Like, for you, like Mr. Like you're like climbing 513.
He's still stoked.
Yeah, he was still just like unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, get it.
I don't even know if I could go back to Eagle Peak and repeat that Soichenko. That just like happened, man. That was so cool.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it just happened.
Did it?
Such a weird thing, man. Like it's such a.
That's the lead thing, man.
It's such a It's such a sport where it's like just because you do something once doesn't mean you can repeat it for sure.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that play in that just align just right. You know, I was just like happened to be in the right headspace and.
The wind was just the right direction.
Yeah. It was just right. Right now, I'm trying to just. I don't know. I'm taking a little like pause. I'm not going too hard, but I am going after some projects while I wait to re-up on my coach. Oh, did I tell you? So I put up a YouTube channel.
Oh no, I have to follow it.
It's not like it just shows like I just put up my climbing videos, and I put it up because it's an easier way to share videos with my coach, just rather than going through an app. It's just like here's
having to upload it and having to download it and then whatever.
And there's like size limitations and all this stuff. So I'm like, I'll just put it on YouTube and share the link. So and then I put those as unlisted, and then I put all the ones that I actually do like send public. And we've been trying to do this podcast for a while. I mean, we started in like July of last year, and then we did like a podcast every week. I think we have like 15 episodes. And one video that I put up 3 days ago has more views than our entire podcast combined.
No way.
And it's just like
what video is it?
It's just like a random. There's like 2.4 thousand people watched it, and I'm like, who the fuck's watching this?
What is it?
It's just some like random climb that I did.
Boulder?
Yeah, it's just a boulder. There's just boulder problems that I put up. And all I put is just the name of the boulder problem and the description. And I'm like, how does this work? How does YouTube freaking work? Why are people watching this?
That's weird.
It's
weird. Was it the one in Harbo?
No, it's just one in Mammoth that I did. And it's some obscure climb. It's not like a sought out climb. It's not like someone's like, dude, this is like one of the top 10 sickest lines that anyone's ever done at Mammoth. It's like, no, it makes no sense. I don't understand the algorithms, but it made me just laugh. Like all this effort we put into the
You
podcast.
got like view botted.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. Maybe just someone's like view botting me. But so last time we talked, I think we finished up with the timeline. You ended up going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So you were leading up to right before jail.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about all this crazy shit.
A lot of crazy stuff.
Talked about the dude with the freaking python around his neck. Who got his
right.
brains
That
blown
was like
out.
right. That was like right down the street.
Right down the street, right?
Yeah. Did we talk about that here, or did we talk about that after the fact?
Oh, we talked about that after the fact. Though.
After the fact, yeah. The guy with the python, the pimp
guy
with the python, and all the gold, getting shot on the bus.
Dude, I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about what's his.
San Diego was hood.
Yeah.
San Diego was hood back in the day.
I'm sure there's still hood pockets if you know where.
Yeah, I
where
think
to
that
go.
the drugs took the gangs out though, so it's not.
What do you mean?
The drugs, like all the gang members and all the gangsters, like they all just ended up strung out. You know, they just ended up hooked on dope and doing petty crime or like going to jail for this or that, or they went to jail for something big and they're gone.
Yeah. So all the OGs leave, and then you get new blood, and then new blood's different.
Yeah, and then I think with the advent of technology, like it just changed. You know, people just stopped.
For the better.
I think for the better, yeah. Yeah, now they're just TikToking.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing some kind of like a selfie challenge. You know, like some kind of a dance alongside, like ghost dancing outside of their car to Drake.
I don't understand the TikTok thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't get it.
Gorilla glue.
Yeah. Dude, I got Gorilla Glue on this thing. Look at this.
Oh, dude, what
I
happened?
sliced my finger open last night. And so I went climbing today, so I Gorilla Glued this onto my finger to create a cast.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts pretty bad. It's pretty gross.
You really sliced it.
No, I really sliced it. I was slicing nectarines in the dark. And then
Oh no, out there.
And it just, and I was like,
oh no.
And I was like, the first thing I thought, climbing.
Yeah, I did
and
that.
I was fine.
I've done that.
Yeah. It's just a thumb.
On
right?
sheet metal, yeah.
Ugh.
And then I was at El Cajon like a couple days later.
Yeah.
Like doing like a side pull push thing.
Yeah.
And then it just popped. The whole thing just detached.
Your whole finger?
Yeah, the whole side of my finger just like like pivoted off.
I'm not that bad.
It was bad. You know, it just pivoted sideways like half of this thing. Like it pivoted and I just launched. It took such a big whip.
Oh.
Like 15-foot whipper.
Could you feel it off, too?
Oh, I knew. And there was blood everywhere as usual. Like,
gross.
all over like the crux hold. My climbing partner went to go do it next. He's
What
like,
the fuck?
good thing it's hot.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so yeah.
So what'd you go to jail for?
Sales of a controlled substance.
What was this substance?
Heroin, methamphetamine, and then benzodiazepines.
So you had benzos, those pills.
Yeah, I had.
This was all on your person?
Well, I got raided by the SWAT team, and so
So they legit found stuff.
they legit got me for everything. Yeah. I mean, they didn't charge me I didn't get any weapon charges or anything. Like they did there was knives, there was stolen goods, there was, I mean, you name it. Like it was nasty. It was a big.
It was a dealer's house.
Yeah, it was like it sucked.
Who's socially deep in the game.
Yeah. And like I was just chilling in my, just another day in the life, like chilling in my. I remember it's so fun. I had these like, I don't know where I got them. They're like silk polka dot boxers. So I'm like wearing these fucking silk polka dot boxers.
Dude, you literally were a fucking drug dealer, man.
Yeah, dude. Like chilling in these silk polka dot boxers. I got my 2 Bengals because I had Bengal cats, and so like I got my 2
fucking licking guns.
Yeah, dude. I'm chilling there with my Bengals. I got my polka dot boxers with a white beater on, like hitting the bong, like scale on the table, beer on the table. It was like my last client, like last person I was selling to of the day was there, and like he was in there chilling. Like this other guy, I was, oh yeah, go ahead and come on up. And like he was there, and like I just weighed out their sacks, and like they were sitting there, and like we were all just kind of chilling back. I was like, I'm done. Like I'm off the clock. We're having beers, and like I'm like hitting the bong, and then like I'm just like. And all of a sudden, I just see a bunch of shadows go running by my window, and I'm like, wonder what the fuck that's at? You know, what's going on? And then there was no knock. Like I think there was, I can't remember, dude. I just remember, all I really remember is the sound of the door jamb just exploded. It didn't splinter, it exploded. And wood just like black, like the force of that battering ram thing that they use, like my door blew across the room. Like they crushed it. It was boom, the hinges snapped off, like they crushed the door.
Yeah.
And then it was just like flooded, and I got up and like I ran over to the freezer because I was like, well, you know, I was just trying to get, because I kept the heroin in the freezer, because that was what I was really worried. I had a good amount, you know, I had like, you know, a few $1,000s of wholesale price, you know, like what I had was like a few $1,000s. So like, you know, like what I had, you know, it was like $20,000 street value probably. And so like I went in and like I ran over to the freezer and they're like, freeze, freeze, you know, guns are drawn. Like it's like fucking chaos in this house.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like I was like, I tried to get it and I was trying to get it in the garbage disposal, you know, like that was where I was going for. And dude, this chick, this female cop just came up. I'm so glad. She would have shot me. She could have blew my head off. If I was brown, she probably would have.
Yeah,
If I was brown,
hold your fire, white guy.
Exactly. If I was brown, they probably would have shot me. I would be dead.
Yeah.
I would have been dead 100%.
Yeah.
I was like charging, kind of. I was in socks. You know, I had socks on too. But I'm like sliding across the kitchen floor, like the linoleum, like going for the garbage disposal. I'm also glad that she hit me, because what she did is she pistol whipped me. She knocked my tooth out.
Whoa.
Oh, she knocked the shit out of me. She hit me with her gun.
Quick reflexes.
No, she was like, she didn't like hit me with the side of her gun. She was like, freeze, freeze, boom, and she just like, I had like, yeah, she crushed me like right here.
So she jabbed you with the gun.
She jabbed me with the barrel of the gun, like cracked my tooth all the way down, and but it's good because I probably would have grinded my entire hand off, you know, in the garbage disposal if she hadn't. And
plus, if it's frozen, like, wouldn't it be pretty hard to like?
I don't know what it would. I have no clue. I was just like, fucking get rid of it.
Yeah,
get rid of it.
Do something.
And it was done. And so,
what's the what was a conversion of like? Okay, you bought heroin wholesale.
Yeah.
And then like for how much? And then how much could that get converted onto the street?
Oh man, I mean, you're talking like at a certain point, you know, you're getting, you know, depending on how you're getting it and how much you're buying. Like if you like, so I would go down and put, you know, I went down and I put down like 10 grand. And so I bought 10 grand worth of this. It's like, it's black tar, but it was uncut. You know, you go down and it was through, you know, crazy dudes. And I would say who they were, but I'm not even going to go down that path, you know, but affiliated with, you know, affiliated with the cartel, and you know,
clearly someone who's selling wholesale heroin.
Big guys, these guys were running most, you know, at the time, like this was the gang that was running TJ, and which is a huge city, to control, and yeah, you go down like I had a guy through, I had a plug who was through one of the local barrios in San Diego, in OG, and you know, so we had like this operation, and he knew, I don't know if I'd say he was a pimp. But I think, you know, between people smuggling, but a lot of it was like they'd go down, like it was pretty much prostitutes and escorts, really prostitutes. Prostitutes were bringing it across on foot, like ounces at a time.
Through their pussies?
Exactly, through their pussies, or whatever. You know, people, you know, whoever, anybody. Yeah. You know, people were bringing it across in cars. Anyway, it's insane how people were getting it across. And so at this level, because, you know, we're not talking like a huge organization, you know, and yeah, so I think when how I had bought it, I think I was getting it for like, you know, it was like wholesale, like $5 to $10 a gram, which is insane. $5 to $10 a gram of, you know, of probably like, you know, I was talking to someone about it back in like a while, not too long ago, and he was like, hey man, you remember that tar, you know, that was here that had that red tint? And I was like, I do. It was like obsidian. It was unbelievable. It was good. It was like it was good. It was like really good product, and yeah, get rid of like 60 to 80 a gram.
Whoa.
Yeah, so you're talking about like,
wow.
You're talking about you go down and drop
600% profit.
Yeah,
per gram.
You're talking about like if you go down and drop $10,000, man, like.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
damn. So would you cut it with anything, or would you just?
I never cut anything.
You just pieced it off.
Yeah. You just you know.
And you sold out of your house.
In the yeah, most of the time, or you know, I used to have I had this driver, like you just have a junkie that would just like drive you around,
and then you like
there was and then I was trying to switch over to wholesale, you know, and I'd been gone for a while. I can't remember. It was like my mom had been over that day. I think I can't remember what was going on, but I was, you know, things were just out of control. My drug addiction just got too out of control, and so it was a shit show, and so it was just bound to. You know what happened was somebody OD'd in a car. Did we go over this last time? I sold this guy, and like the rule was like you get the product, you split, and like this dude was bad. He was like rich, so he was like, you know, he had like a gas card, and like he'd like show up with like 8 cartons of Marlboro Reds. I'm like, sweet, like here's a gram.
Yeah.
Like here you go, like
Yeah.
here's an eighth of black, you know, and he went out into his car and freaking OD'd. He didn't like, you know, he like fully fell out, and he didn't snitch me out, but he got them onto it, and they're like what's going on here? And so what they did is like they set up some people on that street, and then they were watching, and they didn't know where I was, they didn't know who I was, they just knew that there was product moving somewhere, and then they located the complex, and they just started plucking people. And so what happened, you know, they were getting people, and so at the end of it they had plucked 12 people, so I had 12 counts. And dude, the guy who got me, like I went to preschool. I mean, we went to preschool together, went through school all the way through. And what happened?
When you say he got you, you mean like he snitched on you?
Yeah, he fully snitched on me. And then this other kid had snitched on me, and the other kid said that he said that I had like forced him into his addiction. It was crazy. It was like bullshit. It sucked. Like talk about it sucked. Like everybody you could imagine turning on you, they turned on me. It was horrible.
I mean, isn't that what people do in the drug business?
It was horrible. And then, but this guy, man, it was jacked up.
How'd you know it was them?
Oh, I mean, you find out when they testify against you, and then I had to beat them. I had to beat them up. And when I got locked up, you know, the rep found out, or the key holder or whatever, found out that those guys were testifying against me, and he made me and this big dude go up there and
key holder? What do you mean?
Yeah, he was the man.
Oh,
yeah,
he in jail.
He was like the leader of the whites of the woodpile, and
they call it woodpile.
Yeah, the woodpile.
What's that mean?
Just the woods. That's it. It's woodpile.
All right. Yeah. And he's like, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta
handle him.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, and so we handle him. I was crazy. I almost got like 12 years over that. Yeah, it was sucked, dude. It was rough. But yeah,
That's gotta be such a shitty position to be in, because it's like, did you feel like you also wanted to handle this guy, or was it like, dude, I just want to get out? Or
you don't have a choice. Yeah, you don't have a choice. I was just talking to my buddy about that. You know, it's like you're young and like you go in the system, and that's where I think it's scary. Like as we like that's what sucks, and that's what like I made some crazy decisions. I sold to my peer group. The guy who snitched on me, the one that I'd known since preschool, got caught in the car with a 16-year-old, a minor. Fuck, dude, like, I understand why he snitched. I never thought that was like, I didn't know that. Like, you just don't think about that. You know, it's like, oh, I know this dude, like, here you go. Like, you don't think about the unintended consequences. Like, you don't think about, like, I wasn't putting out, like, kilos onto the street, and those kilos were going out and, like, flooding schools. You know, and that's not the way I was looking at it, but go figure, right? Like, bam, like, one of my customers got picked up with a fucking minor. And, you know, so all of a sudden you're like, dang, like, well, now what happens? Like, did I just get busted for supplying a 16-year-old? And
your impact, the veins of your network just go so far.
Oh, dude, terrible.
You have no idea how much impact you have.
Yeah, and
did you have to grapple with that a little bit? Like,
I went over, especially in the program, I've done a lot of inventorying on that. I've done a lot of thought about it, and I definitely do think that what I did was wrong. I don't think that it's good to sell drugs. I've also like gone out into the community. I paid my restitution. I've paid my restitution back to the state. You know, I've made my amends to some of the families. You know, and then when Cassandra died, you know, talk about like a major amend. And one of the things I think I've really grappled with is the long-term effects of some of the people that I got into it with at a young age. Because there was a while where I felt, man, like, how much responsibility do I have over this big group of people that I knew, and the heroin epidemic that hit our specific group or our specific community, and how many of them have died since. And I grappled with that for a while. I've also not villainized myself as like, because it was easy to do. Like for a long time I walked around and I was like, you're scum of the earth, you're a piece of shit, like you're worthless, like you're a fucking horrible person. And that's not true. Like I just don't agree with that. Like I think that I was sick, and like I made some mistakes. I account for those mistakes. I don't think that I was evil. You know, and
yeah, you said something really powerful last time. It was about the guy who was 17 dating like a 12-year-old, or No.
Oh,
He was 17 and you were 11. You were hanging out. And
Yeah,
then,
Corey.
And then Corey was just one of the homies, and he was dating at like 21. He started dating like a 16-year-old or something like that.
She might have been 13, dude.
Something young. It was something young.
It was fucked up.
And you were like, at the time, you're just like, you know, he was a damaged person.
Yeah.
He was a damaged person.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something. He wasn't like a predator in the sense of like he's like, oh hell yeah, like young girls. He was like, no, he's damaged.
He was.
It's not excusing it. It's just like this is one of the consequences
of
growing up in a fucked up environment and being damaged from it. Like, not everyone makes it.
No, for sure. Like when I was 22, I dated this woman who was like 18, and I was just like I wanted to have a good relationship with her, and I was just like, I just don't relate with you.
Yeah, it's a huge mental gap.
Yeah, but with him, Corey related with these women. Like he were girls, they weren't women, they were girls. Like he related with the young women, like, and they were on like the same level, and it was weird, you know. And like he was so young and he was so innocent and he seemed so genuine for some reason that I don't think anybody ever looked at him as like this predator, or this pedophile.
Technically, though, he was.
Technically, he was in the eyes of the law for sure. I think that I mean, I don't even know if he's alive. I think he contacted me a few years back, like really struggling with depression. He's always kind of struggled, and I think he may have killed himself. But
I mean, if I was a parent to a 13, 14-year-old daughter and they were dating a 21-year-old, dude,
kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
like
that's what happened. Actually, that was actually in the end. That actually happened. We were like hanging out in like one of his vehicle, and like we were like all like robo tripping. You know what that is?
Yeah. Like, a bunch of robotussins. Oh, terrible.
God, yeah,
just
awful. Coruscedon, dude. Like, yeah, we were like all fucking tripped
dude,
out.
Go get some codeine, dude. Don't do robotussins.
Oh yeah, we were doing Coruscedon, and like this guy came in and busted in on our party and busted Corey like hanging out with the homegirl.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was scary.
Gosh.
He didn't hurt me, but the guy grabbed me and like shook me. And it's like weird, like when you're a kid and a grown ass man like grabs you by your like body, it just shakes the shit out of you.
All jumping around.
I ran all the way home, dude. I was not high anymore. I was like, whoa! Like I shit myself home. But no, I mean, like I said, I've done a lot of inventory, and I've been pretty critical about it. Like, are you justifying the things that you did? I don't think so at all. I think that it was like a survival thing. I was too addicted to drugs to function, and I was too dysfunctional to be hired by anybody. And so like I had my girlfriend or my fiance, and I had just this like survival, like trying to find a way to survive in the world and not having any direction or any idea of what to do. And so there was a big shot who was the OG who was like, hey man, like you're a G, because like I'd put in work, and like I think I mentioned that like in the last part, like I hung out with gang members, and I like got down, or it was always like a stand up, I don't know, like up and coming criminal.
So I think what you're highlighting is that you have all these shitty things around your life, and one of the positive things is that you're getting reinforcement that you're doing something proficiently. And for a young person to feel like they're actually doing something, like that's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're getting good at something. That's really valuable to people.
Yeah, and then also like this weird idea, like it's just weird how it works. Like it's just weird looking back on it. Just like totally, it's not, you're not a criminal. In my mind, I was never a criminal. Like in my mind, what I was doing was never wrong. In my mind, like I lived in a society that was misinforming people to control them, because they didn't want people to have this complete and total, like profound and true pure experience.
What do you mean by that?
Like I just felt like everybody else, like that we lived in like a sheepish society, and that people were just brainwashed, and like they were just, I don't know, it was just weird. Like I was just delusional.
Yeah,
like
I still think that though.
I know, right?
Ever since I was a kid, dude, being on the school bus, I remember being like, I'm just being herded like sheep. I'm being told when to get out of my classroom, go to the next. The bell is my authority.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to follow this structure. I'm supposed to be here at a certain time. I'm supposed to get shuttled at a certain time. These are all the things I'm supposed to be doing. And I definitely felt like, and I still feel like, there's still a lot of brainwashing in society. And
Certainly.
I don't know that that's I don't know that you can actually ever escape that cycle, because on some level, for society to function, you have to have norms and standards, and
Yeah.
it's a part of it.
You have to have order.
You have to have order, and on some level, order becomes a neurosis where you are doing something because everyone else is doing it, but you never actually question it. So there's always that slippery slope where you need some order, but then too much order is like you need a little more chaos.
No, for sure.
But you're right. You're right.
But anyway, but what's sad, and so ultimately, like, an old school gangster was like, I found that I think I know just the person to push our product, and that's how I got into the game. You know, and that's how I got into organized crime. Getting busted, like, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell anybody. I took it. I told, they were like, how did you get this stuff? And I was like, oh, when you raided me, didn't you see the plane that I had parked in the parking lot in the back of the apartment complex?
Smart ass shit, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it was not good. And I just kept my mouth shut, and I was like, it was me. It was all me. Kept my mouth shut because I was like, man, if these people find out, or if these people think I say a word, like, I'm gonna get killed.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. I was like, and not just me, but my mother's gonna get killed.
Yep.
My grandfather's gonna get killed. I was like, these guys are gonna fucking kill everybody. And I was like, terrified. I was like, fuck, that's who we're fucking with. We're talking about people who fucking put their enemies in buckets of acid and dissolve their fucking bodies. You know?
Behead.
Yes.
Slowly.
While
bone saw.
Hanging people from bridges upside down with their arms cut off and their freaking tongues cut out. You know? Like, and I was like, well, I shut my mouth now. You know? And so I took it. I went to jail. Took it the whole way through. When, you know, and it was weird because I always rolled with Southsiders, like my entire, I didn't really hang out with a lot of white guys or white, you know, and so when I got to jail, it was very apparent that wasn't going to be how it was. And it's cool that I chose that way because, like, I don't know if we talked about this in the last one, but I had this friend named Psycho who used to always joke and be like, I want to be a 25 to lifer.
Yeah, he said that.
And we were like, there you go, dude. And he went ahead later on, like a few months after, we all went down. All of us went down right around the time we turned 18, 19. None of us made it to 20. We all went down. We all went to, like, all of us gone. Like the core group of the rough guy, all of us. And he decided to roll Southside, and that guy ended up in, like, the shoe at Pelican Bay. Like, murderer.
He did it.
He was a murderer. That guy was a savage. Like, that guy, a tomahawk, if you take a toothbrush and melt it with a lighter, and then you take 2 razor blades and you stick them into that toothbrush and let them dry up, it's called a tomahawk. That guy had a phone and turned his phone off or on, record on Facebook Live, and fucking brutally, like, massacred another human live. Like, this guy was an animal, dude.
In prison? Or...
Yes, in prison.
What the fuck?
This guy was a fucking monster. This is the dude that used to... Some people carry guns. Some people carry hammers. Some people... ice picks. This motherfucker carried throwing knives, dude. Yeah. Throwing knives on the outside. Yeah. That's what he went to prison for. Psycho with a C.
Yeah.
C-Y-K-O.
Yeah, why? It's because I like English literature. I'm crazy. No, it's because he's literally psycho.
He was literally nuts. He was a cool guy. He was a very cool guy, but he was just out of control. You know, I knew this dude named, he's dead. I knew this dude named Creeper who ripped the head off of a kitten's body with his teeth. He grabbed the kitten. Like, these guys were fucking off the chain.
Just to show, like,
I don't know why he did it. He was nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys went Southside. Psycho became just an assassin for the Southside.
He's an enforcer. He's not a strategist.
I mean, he just didn't get any freedom because he's white. He was a white guy, and he was like, I'm a sureño. Let's do this. And they were like, oh, you want to be a sureño? You know, like, take these orders. And it's like, you don't get to turn those orders down. And so when I got in, that was kind of like what I found out real quick. And it was like, oh, these guys told on you? Like, you and Big Homie, like, go get this guy. And it's like, you gotta get this dude. And then all of a sudden, like, you think everything's fine. Then all of a sudden, like, it's like Tuesday afternoon, 11 o'clock. And all of a sudden, like, the Deps come in. And they're like, Clift, come over here. Like, you got a court date. And you're like, what do you mean I got a court date? Like, I don't got a court date. And then all of a sudden, like, they take you in, like, you're sitting in there, and they, like, you know, like, you're in the jail, and you go in there, and, like, they bust out this TV, show some footage, and they're like, yeah, we have reason to believe, you know, that you're, like, you're part of this, you know, this area, this you know, this white supremacist prison gang, and that you, like, you did something in the name of that white supremacist prison gang, and all of a sudden, it's like you're looking at a gang enhancement. Now you're looking at 12 years at 80%.
Wow.
And it's like, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
And that's like where it really gets complicated. You know, like I grew up with a kid, you know, he was 18, got strung out on meth, you know, and he went down to his neighbors, broke into their house while they were on vacation, stole their TV, stole their AK-47.
Whoa.
No one talks about, like, why did these people have an AK-47? Who knows? The kid was so stupid, dude. Like, he lived on top of the hill, and they lived here, and his room was here with the window, and he mounted the TV within eye shot of the people's house that he robbed. Busted. And I saw a picture of him like 2 years ago on Facebook, prison selfie with his cell phone in Donovan, looking evil, with a big old swastika on his skull.
Fuck.
Tatted, just blasted with swastikas. And it's just like person after person after person that I know that like nailed for felony possession. You know, on drugs, like we call him Brandon the dope dealer. On drugs, you know, high out of his mind on meth, went on like a crazy high-speed chase from the cops, ended up crazy car accident, got a couple years, and you know, went into prison, and you know, was always a nice guy, and became extremely violent, extremely dangerous, and dealing with extreme trauma from his experiences in prison. And you know, the longest I've ever seen Brandon out was like, you know, it's cool, man. He came to my freaking court date when I got busted. Yeah, he was out for that period of time. But yeah, guy would make it. He'd stay out for like 3 months, go back to prison. And that's over like the last 12, 14, 15 years. Like this guy has spent all of his adult life in prison.
It's one of those things where I think people glorify like gangs and criminals and, you know, people who bad, you know, like just bad motherfuckers. But a lot of it's just sad.
It's terrible.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
Like it's like emotionally, like in the depth of your emotion, the being of who you are is really mostly sad, and you are literally combating this sadness with violence. Like that's how you suppress the sadness of your life, because you can't take time to reflect on yourself when you're that miserable. Like everybody had to be miserable, even when they're laughing, right? Laugh now, cry later. Like they're just like they're always putting the cry later further and further away.
Well, in like prison settings or institutional settings, like you don't have time. Yeah, it's just you can't think about what you're doing.
Fuck.
You know, like I remember the last time I thought about what I was doing in there, like they had me I had to go beat this guy up because he peed at the wrong time.
This is a disability guy that you told me?
The disability
and he
guy.
just looked at you like
they were like, take it easy on him. They were calling me trash. I was just all sucked up, and I was like, dude, this guy's huge. And so like I just went buck wild. I beat the shit out of him. I fucking crushed him. You know, just like, and I used to box, and so I just fucking went to town. And like when I saw what was missing in his eyes, like I remember that was like that was bottom. That was like the lowest of the low. And I just remember like going back to my rack and like falling down on the bottom bunk and just being like you can't close your eyes, you can't blink your eyes, because if you blink your eyes, you're not gonna stop fucking crying. And you can't fucking cry. I wasn't in a cell yet. I didn't end up getting in a cell until I beat those two co-defendants up. I beat those two co-defendants up, and then from then on, I never left the cell. The rest of my incarceration, I was in a cell.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So what was it? So you had the court date. What were all the charges, and what did they get you with?
So ultimately, it was like real nasty. I had gotten a felony possession when I was 18, and I absconded.
What's that mean?
I went to a program. Like in between then, I got another felony possession. Like it was bad, and then like on like day 364, they filed, and I had to go to court. And so I went in there and I tried to pass the program, and I was too strung out. I couldn't get through. So like I went on the run, felony possession, prison sentence, about I think like a 2-year prison sentence, you know, suspended. And so like I had a warrant, and then
which is crazy. Like 2 years doesn't seem that much for all the evil that you're doing. You know what I mean?
2 years, like, even 2 years right now doesn't seem like that much.
Yeah,
you do 2 years pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pathetic, right? Like, but 2 years goes by, you'd be surprised, you know. get into a couple, go to a freaking welding class, like
Yep.
prison, yeah, whatever. But and then like I was loaded, like trying to go to college. It's crazy what you can do with a warrant. Like I was going to college with a warrant on the run, like at community college and like.
He's like, yeah, he's registered for these classes.
Exactly, nothing. Like I was just like living, like handling it. My girlfriend put everything in her name, and then I stole a car, and like I was like super fucked up, like crashed the car, 85-mile-an-hour felony DUI rollover.
Wow.
Life flighted, felony possession again. Broke out of the hospital, absconded. Just nuts, dude.
Yeah, that's this
all
wild.
of this stuff going on, and then boom, I get raided by the SWAT team, and so I'm just like, well, shit. Like I walk in there, and they're like, man, like they're talking like you have like 4 felony count possessions, strike, felony DUI, like you absconded from the scene.
Strike.
They didn't offer me a strike on that, I don't think. 12 counts of freaking, whatever. Like they were off me, like it ended up like on the table was like 15 years and 2 strikes. And I was just like, and then like the ridiculous amount of stuff that went with it. It was like upon release, like, like a 36-month DUI program and an 18-month drug treatment program. And like, you'll be on, it was just like absurd. And I was just like 15 years, like, and I was like, dude, screw you, dude. Like, what? Like, I'm not signing your stupid piece of paper. Like, 15 years? Like, fuck you. I'm never going to sign 15 years of my life. Like, I'll fight it. And they're like, well, if you fight it, like, you're eligible, like, get up to 25 years. And I was like, well, fuck you. Then, like, I'll take my chances. Like, I'm not, like, I would rather, like, risk it. Like, what's the 15 and 25? Like, whatever. Like, I could be out at 35 or I could be out at 45. What do I care? Like, let's do this. And so, like, I went back to court, and they were like, we give you 12 and 2 strikes. And I'm like, nah. Like, I'm not taking strikes. And they're like, I went back, and then, like, I went back, like, another time, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you, 10 years with 2 strikes. And I was like, I'm not doing any strikes. Like, forget you.
Like, and during this time, you're in jail?
The whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah.
So you're sober now, or are you?
Yeah. I never use in jail. Never use. No tattoos, nothing. I don't do any favors. No, because everybody, if you use, you die. Like, you end up getting killed. Like, they'll kill you over the debt. Like, you have to be balling. Like, the only people that can be using are like high up people. Like, you really got to be doing well. It's expensive.
Gotcha.
I did transport while I was there, so I did put in work, and so like, by the time that I did leave the jail, I left the county system, went into the state system for processing into the state prison. I took a package.
Yeah, you told me, like, the guy's like, hey, this is going, and it needs to arrive.
And these guys surrounded me, like, right when I got there, like, they knew who I was. They were waiting for me. Like, they took me in, and like, these guys, like, they were like, I thought the guy was just going to shove his whole fist up my ass, and just like, give me that. He waited for it. But, it was like, yeah, it was crazy. And so I was like, chill. That was all good. Like, I did what I had to do. But at the end, went back to court, and we ended up settling. I ended up signing when I finally signed, I signed for 7 years with no strikes.
Damn. They really kept going down.
7 years with no strikes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so has some negotiation power. Good for you.
Amazing attorney. I found this guy later on too, by chance, when I was working with an attorney. And so I ended up signing, like, I got convicted for 7. And so that was cool. And then I found out about this drug court program, so I sent an appeal, and I wrote to the DA's office, or not the public defender's office. And I wrote to the DA, I wrote to the public defender, and then I wrote a letter to the judge. So I'm like writing all these letters, like I'm talking to my family, I'm talking to all these people, and I'm like, hey, what about drug court? Was all that the letter said. And my public defender got it, and he filed. And I got on a bus, and like I went into the courthouse, like on a whim. So I got picked up by a sheriff or a marshal. Marshal drove me back to San Diego, to George Bailey. So like I got processed into George Bailey, and then went to court, and they were like,
George Bailey?
It's the county jail here,
okay,
like the long-term facility county jail. And then I went back to court, and they were like, it was a Thursday, and like I walk out into like drug court, And that's what it is. It's drug court. It was like, I can't remember it's like the last courtroom on the right. That's all I remember. And they were like, yeah, like, we don't know if you can get in. We don't know if this guy can get in. This is what he did. Like, sales cases don't get dropped. But ultimately what's going to happen is that you're going to get in here and everything is going to get washed away when you graduate the program. Your felony possessions are going to go away. They never charged me for the DUI criminally.
Whoa.
I didn't get charged for the DUI criminally. Nothing about that night with the car came up. And I don't know if they lost the samples. Because I know I got the DUI because later in my 20s I went in to get my license back. In the DMV I had to sign. For the DUI, but non-criminal, just for their records. I signed for the DUI and they gave me my license. It was weird.
Wow.
And
dude, it's almost like you fell through the right cracks.
I did. It was unbelievable. It was crazy. And so then they're like, okay, like,
is it the smile?
No clue. But they're like, if you sign this line right here, you get out today. Today. And I'm like,
after signing 7 years.
I already signed 7 years. I've already like served 7. I'm already like serving my 7 years, you know, and like barely. Like I just got into the prison system, you know, because like ultimately like I was in like Chino was backfilled. Donovan, you couldn't go into Donovan anymore, so I was at Calipatria, like waiting on just like a low classification yard, like chill, really chill, like with like really cool people. No, not a lot of crazy people, and I was waiting to go to a place called CRC up in Riverside. You know, it's for N numbers, drug offenders, and it's like a program, and you go in there for drug crimes. And so, yeah, they called me back, and I was like, okay. And so, like, I signed that, and they were like, okay, like, when you sign this, like, if you screw up this opportunity, like, to get out today, you're signing for 9 now. So now it's not 7 years. Now you have 9 years. No strikes. You're going to check into this program on the 18th of June. Now, you have 30 days. This was like May 23rd, 2009. And I had till freaking June 18th, 2009.
That's a lot of opportunities every single day.
And so I have to check in. I'm on an OR. It's on. You're out on your own recognizance. And so I have to go in and I have to check in with the court systems. I have to go to a meeting, like all these different meetings and all this different stuff. I think it was a meeting a week. And I was like, let's do this. And like I got out, and I remember like there's a good friend I'm actually working with tomorrow. I met him here, and he was in this bullpen with me, and these guys were just ripping me apart. They were just like, oh man, like you're just a freaking junkie. Like you're gonna get out today, and you'll be back tomorrow. They're like, we'll see. Like you're never getting out of the lifestyle. And I remember just being like, fuck you guys. Like I'm never gonna make the same mistakes ever, ever. I'm never doing this again. Like I've learned my lesson. You know, like just unbelievable experience. I relapsed within an hour and a half of my release.
Fuck.
Relapsed.
How? Like you pick up
I
the
went
phone?
back to Cassandra, the fiance, and there was people there. There was people there with signs, welcome me home. Like it was like this giant welcome home party, and just like within an hour of being back, like my lips were blue and I was in the back of an ambulance. Flatlined.
Yeah, because you took
OD'd
way too much because you body processed it out. You've been sober for
oh
so long.
man, yeah, and it's OD'd, and like I woke up in the ambulance, like it was like I was done, and then I came back, and it was horrible. Like being back alive was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I remember when it happened, I was just like, I wish I had just stayed dead, and I just wished I had stayed dead, and so I just fucking ripped everything and just gone, absconded as usual, dude, just gone, like into the dark, you know, into the streets of La Mesa, and from
dude, that must have been a wild night for the EMT guy. Like pick up this dude and he just like zombie wakes up and just
right when they hit me with the Narcan. When the Narcan hit my heart, and I was strong, I was super healthy, you know, and I was like boom. And so from March 23rd that evening, I don't know what happened. I don't remember, like looking back, I don't remember anything. And from then until June 3rd. I mean, I don't. I wish I knew the exact dates. I might not have gotten out on the 23rd of May. Anyways, I went on a freaking tear, unbelievable tear. I didn't violate my terms, and by June 3rd, I was over it. I was just like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going to live my life. At that point, I was like, I knew what it was going to do. I knew what was going to happen to me in 9 years. I knew I was going to become a monster. I knew everybody in my life was going to get destroyed by me. And I was going to have to sit there as a prisoner of my own destruction and watch myself unravel and destroy everything that was dearest to me. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not doing this. Like, my family, like, I have too much. It was like, I have too much pride. Like, I have too much dignity. Like, I'm going to die with honor. So I stole a car. Stole a car, you know? That's how you redeem yourself. Stole a car, drove up to the Coronado Bridge. Fucking parked on the Coronado Bridge. Right. Crawled up on the rail. Got ready to jump. Like at the fucking bridge, like, all right. Like, this is it. Like, just don't even doubt it. Like, just fucking do it. And
just
so I was like,
bro.
Just fucking do it. Like, don't fucking second guess this one. Like, you don't deserve to go through this kind of hell that you're about to put yourself through. I went to jump and I got fucking blasted off of the bridge backwards, like by a fucking, I can't even explain what happened. And I just launched out the bridge, landed in the middle of the street in front of the car, and just like got in the car, drove back across the bridge, like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, back across the bridge, back to the apartment in La Mesa. And my mom was there. And she was like, hey, son, like, I think it's time for you to come with me. And I was like, okay, like, I think I'm just going to come with you. And like, I got in my mom's car. I didn't take anything with me. And we drove to my grandparents. And like, I left the life. And like, I smoked a little bit of pot. I drank a little bit of booze, and I had done enough heroin at that point that I was kicking again. And I started kicking horribly hard. And
you mean like relapse, like feeling the
withdrawing.
The withdrawal. Yeah.
Bad, really bad withdrawals. And yeah, like I went up to Hamul and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna give myself to this fucking thing. And so like I got into the program.
Where was your fiance at this point? Cause
she was there at that apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, she was there for all of it. And
because she kind of wasn't helping you either.
No, not at all. And then, you know, yeah, it's crazy. Like at the end of the day, like the drugs, it just shows you how powerful drugs are. You know, that actually just happened to a buddy. My buddy's dad just died, I think yesterday from COVID, and the woman, and him and his father didn't have a good relationship. His dad was a crackhead, meth head, just a, you know, not good father. And the woman that he, like his life partner, like never visited him once, and he died. And she is like completely unresponsive, and she has like his stuff because he has a check coming in from the government. The government hasn't noted him dead yet, and then she also gets a check for being his caretaker, and so she's just like
collecting.
But she's just disappeared, and she's just waiting, and she's gonna pull that money. Never visited him, nothing. It's crazy. Drugs are fucked.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was where I got, and so. From June 3rd is when I started. June 6th, I got clean. June 6th, 2009. And I just like kept my head down. I started going to meetings every day. Like I completely got into the program of
what was the program? Like what all did you have to do?
So when I first started on the OR, I just got into AA and NA. 100% on board. Like, this is my life now. Like, higher power, God of my understanding, freaking sponsorship, meeting makers, like all of it. Just 100% going to 4 or 5, freaking as many meetings a day as I could. And then I got into drug court. That was the court assigned program. It's the last place that you go before you go to prison for drug offenses. And I got in there on June 18th. Fuck. And it was a joke. It was hard too. It wasn't easy.
A joke is in how?
A lot of really good criminals and a lot of pieces of shit getting together and getting into trouble.
Like, so they would use essentially drug court to make connections.
To network. Jail works the same way. You know, you make connections. You do this, you do that, and yeah. So that was how that went. And I don't feel like it was really set up for people to succeed. Most people didn't succeed. Most people who were in drug court like died within a few months of leaving drug court. I remember like I was doing good in drug court. Like I'd walk in there and they were like, "We know that you're full of shit because nobody fucking does what you're doing. Like, and we're gonna fucking catch you."
Who said this?
The judge, the fucking judge, in front of the entire courtroom was like, "You're full of shit, and we know you're full of shit, and we're gonna fucking nail you. You're going down." I'm like, I was so discouraging, dude, because like I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do. I was just like, I love the program. I love being clean. I got a dishwashing job, you know, like, but it was cool, you know, and like,
It's like, you piece of shit.
yeah.
We made this thing up.
Oh yeah, it was fucked up. I know, it was crazy.
Makes me wonder why set up drug court if you're not going to believe in it.
Callous people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's the two philosophies. Is a lot of people think that like tough love is the catalyst for change,
Yeah.
rather than support.
Yeah.
And you have to understand too, you know, like the way that I had acted and the conniving and all the bullshit. Like yeah, like why should they trust drug addicts? Like drug addicts suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like drug addicts, like they disappoint you. Like they will disappoint you.
Yeah, do not put your faith in a drug addict.
Yeah, and I think 9 times out of 10 that they'll disappoint you is way more credit than drug addicts deserve. Like I'm talking like 99 times out of 100 maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that might even be a little too much credit. Like drug addict, it sucks. And it's no offense to drug addicts. Like I'm a drug addict, but like, dude, like in my time, like, dude, barely anybody makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Barely anybody makes it. And if they do make it, like they might make it away from their drug of choice, but you also see them fall back into other, you know, other things. Like it's crazy, you know, like the problems that go with drug addiction and like things that go into living like a functional way of life in our society,
Mm-hmm.
like it's wild, you know. It's pretty crazy.
It's also crazy, like you don't have any necessarily noticeable permanent damage. Like if I talk to you, you just seem like a regular person.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's a lot of people and they like talk like this, you know.
They're all twacked and twitchy.
You talk like this, you know.
Yeah. Or on methadone. You know, a lot of people on methadone. People on methadone for like 30, 40, 50 years. Dude. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Like the methadone thing is out of control. Mm-hmm. You get that. And then you also have like for the women. I mean, oh man, like the trauma, the trauma for women drug addicts, and just what they get subjected to. You know you know, just getting beaten and pimped out and taken advantage of, and you know, like
Requiem for a Dream. That's like a horrible scene for a lot of people, where the two women are like,
and that's such a vanilla,
dude. Exactly. It's just like
that's like that's like the best day.
Yeah.
Like if you would like to like my Cassandra's mom, like we found her one time. Like me and Ray were like scouring the streets. There was like a serial killer on El Cajon Boulevard, right fucking there. A serial killer who was picking up prostitutes, and Ray found whatever it was. Ray didn't find the serial killer, but Ray found her in a car, and this guy had a bat, and he bashed her face in with a fucking bat and was like raping her. Her fucking teeth were on the fucking back seat. You know,
that's disgusting.
He just beat the shit with a bat. You know, a grown ass man whooped this woman,
and raped her.
And raped her, just raping her.
Did she die that way? Like,
the guy?
Cassandra's mom died?
No, her mom's alive.
Whoa.
No, Ray found this guy. We were looking for it. Like we knew, like Ray knew something was wrong, and like Ray found him. Like it went down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you found the serial killer?
Well, I didn't find anybody. No. Ray did. Whatever happened, I don't know. Like that was crazy. Like who knows what happened?
Yeah.
All I know is that like Ray found the car. He found Connie. Oops. He found Connie, he found the car, and he found whoever this dude was. I don't think it was a serial killer. I think that I don't know if it was a regular, I don't know if it was somebody she slighted, I don't know what happened. All I know is that when the last time I had seen Connie, she had all of her teeth. She didn't look good, but she did have all of her teeth. And the next time I saw Connie was missing like 6 teeth from each row, the top and the bottom.
Oh my God.
Right here.
Oh,
she looked like that guy from Tiger King. You know,
fuck.
The first husband or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
Only even worse, you know.
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah, the nightmares and being used as mules. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like in recovery, like the trauma. And then it's also sad though for the men, you know, because like it happens to women too, but a lot of men, just like a lot of drug addict men, they go to prison and they're young and they're impressionable or they're defenseless. And somebody said, hey man, like, you want a tattoo? And like they get blasted up with some sick tattoo and they're like, you owe us for that tattoo. You have to earn that tattoo now. Like, we put that on your body as a loan. Go kill this motherfucker.
So dumb.
Go kill your celly owes us for fucking drugs. Like, kill him. Or we're gonna fucking kill you. And then they fucking kill him. And then they get life.
Yeah.
For murder.
And now you're in it for forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
And like, dude, it happens all the time. It's crazy.
I remember when I went to jail, my cellmate was in an adult prison or an adult jail, and he was 17. He was being tried as an adult.
That sucks.
And it's because they were carjacking, and his friend, using the screwdriver to carjack, like the owner found them and was like, "Hey, what are you doing in my car?" Confronts them. His friend stabs the dude with the screwdriver. They freak out. They get in the car and they cross state lines.
Oh shit.
Yeah. This is like Idaho to Utah. So they were on the border of Idaho. They cross over into Utah.
Federal.
And he's getting serious time, and I'm just sitting there talking to him. And he's like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have been with that guy. I didn't want to hang out with him anyway, and I did." And I'm like, "Fuck."
That sucks.
Because I was looking around, and he wasn't like a hard, like he wasn't somebody. He was soft.
He's just a drug addict. Or just probably just a kid just having fun.
He was just a kid. Yeah, he was literally just a kid. He wasn't a drug addict. He didn't. I don't know if
just
he did
a kid
drugs.
just being stupid.
He was just being dumb.
Damn, dude. Yeah, that's what I mean, and that's where like that's kind of where like
he's a mark in prison.
That's fucked. And that's what sucks about the whole thing. You know, it's like, I think that a lot of the drug legislation, it's a ploy, and it's something that politicians use. Whether it's back in the day when politicians were like slamming the gates down on drug addicts, give them 20, 25 years. Or whether it's now where they're like trying to make these big stances on political reform because they're trying to gain the support of the left. They're like, let's get these progressives, let's get these hyper progressives, you know, like these people, you know, like let's break these people, let's give these people a break, let's make this program, let's do this, let's do that, you know, let's decriminalize it, let's decriminalize all of it. And then, you know, at the same time, you have people who've like done fucking time, and it's like, how are you gonna pay me back for that?
Yeah.
Wiping that off my record it's not gonna undo the things that I've had to do.
No.
It's not gonna give me back the years of my life that I've lost. All the money in the world that you pay me out isn't gonna like change that. And and you have a lot of people like with the marijuana thing that are just, people have done time, like serious, like there's people that have done like 10 plus years over a freaking joint.
Yep.
You know, and like, and then it's legal.
Yeah.
It's almost like federal, like what?
Yeah.
I think like it's almost federally legal.
Yeah.
And it's a trip, you know. At the same time, you know, it's also weird when you have politicians. That's how we started talking about it, right? Was you have a politician who made their career, who climbed up through the ranks, all the way to vice president,
prosecuting people,
prosecuting the shit out of sick people, and then turning around with the times and creating a program, right? Similar to what I did.
Yep.
You know, like this radical change. And
yeah, you're talking about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
That program I was telling you about was called Back on Track.
Yeah.
And that Back on Track program is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And she heralds it as like this big, how she's smart on crime. And if you like look at the numbers of that, like who it helped, dude, they cherry picked that data. They helped like 300 people over the course of like several years.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to the rate of people that you're incarcerating for dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's nothing.
It's weird. Yeah. And that's what's weird. So that's what's really tricky, is that like, what do you do with something that is so fucked up, like drug addiction?
Yeah.
Drug addiction, it's probably like,
it's a multi-layered problem, because it's not just the addiction itself. There's also the trauma and the history and the context of the background of the person, right? Like,
right.
Like you can be somebody who had a great life, you were privileged, you grew up upper middle class, whatever, and you fell into drug addiction. That sucks. There's also people who were abused. Their brother raped them when they were kids. You know, the uncle touched you know what I mean? There's like so many layers of damage that can lead someone into, and it's like, oh, and guess what? You can use this to not think about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, instead of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right? Because no one gives you guidance on how to deal with
trauma,
because you know what? That shit fucking happens. And we're not safe. We're not safe.
No, not at all. It's weird too, because like when like what's fucked up is that like drug addiction has like it's terrible. Like it doesn't have a good like people don't get cured. People just continue to do what they do. They continue to fall back into the disease of addiction, whether it's whatever. And incarcerating them, if it's like, is it a tax problem? Is locking up drug addicts the solution? Is putting them in a program the solution? A program that they're just going to fail? You know?
Especially when people don't even believe in you.
Yeah, or when you're just going to meet up with a bunch of people who are cheating, a lot of cons, a lot of like really seasoned criminals that are going, this is the whole thing is rough.
Yeah, I don't know what, I mean, it's hard to capture that kind of
or do you decriminalize?
Data. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what's crazy. Is like, so it's like, does the criminalization, does charging people for drug crimes, is that what actually creates the market for the Mexican drug cartels? I was talking to someone about it the other day. He's like, well, you know, if they do that, there's going to be a lot of jobs lost. And I'm like, is it more important to have fucking lives lost in an entire third world country, like getting destroyed by this cartel? Like, I'm sure if the cartel lost the grip on drugs, if the market dropped out of drugs, then they just go fucking seize the avocado market.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just like something.
Yeah,
right?
they seize the human sex trade. Like they'll I mean, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But like, you know, at the end of the day, like the number one purchaser of drugs in the world is the United States. Like we fucking love drugs. Like we just buy everybody's drugs, and
I would be up for decriminalization for sure.
Yeah,
you just have to do it intelligently.
Exactly, and that's what people are like. Well, it's gonna be like San Francisco. Like there's gonna be shit all over the streets and needles everywhere. And I'm like, there's already shit on the streets and needles everywhere. You know, like.
Yeah.
Then we'll fucking give them jobs cleaning up the shit on the streets.
Right.
Right. I don't
know.
Yeah,
I was even thinking about like those homeless problems. It's like you and I, we could literally just go buy bus passes and pass them out to homeless people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It would be nothing.
It literally cost us nothing. And people like, oh, dude, they're sending their homeless. It's organized by the governors and stuff like that. It's like, dude, all it takes is just a few people with a few $100 to just pass out bus tickets. It really is not that hard.
No, it's not that hard.
And then you just convince them, hey, dude.
Or you just have a program that's like qualifying people get like this. That's what I had when I was in drug court. It was kind of cool because they would be like, oh, go down to homeless court. There's a thing that people don't know about. It's called homeless court. You go down to homeless court and you're like, hey, I got this ticket for an open container. I can't afford to go to court. Like I'm just jacked up. Like I don't know what to do. I have a warrant for my arrest. And there's a real judges, real attorneys, and like they set it up like over by Balboa Park somewhere. It's crazy. And they're just like, all right, thank you for coming. Like you're signed off or whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or they'll give you go into the court and they give you a pass. Like here's your bus pass. Here's your this. Here's your. The resources are unbelievable here.
Yeah,
you know,
that's part of the attraction too, right? Like that's also why some people that are homeless also want to come out to California, is because the resources are great.
Yeah, the resources are great. Like, but then it's funny because then you have people who are doing great who are like, yes, like I'm utilizing these resources too.
Yeah.
You see all this peanut butter I got from the food bank? Like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So you're asking a big question. It's like, what do you do? Well, what worked for you?
Shit, I mean, I guess it would be like the archetype of AA and NA is built around this idea that you cannot be cured or you can't do anything about your disease until you are done with your disease, until you hit a rock bottom, a place so deep and so dark that you are done, that you 100% accept that you are an addict or an alcoholic and you believe that, you know, and that you come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity, and then you make a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of that God, and then from those
Why is
three.
it God? I'm just curious.
It could be. I mean, because it was written, because the guys who formed it in like the 40s and 50s, and so we were living in
But the idea is the higher power.
the higher power greater than yourself. Yeah, any power greater than yourself. And the reason is that it's just like you have to find something bigger than you, something more powerful than you, something to look up to, because your best thinking got you into the circumstance.
Exactly right. Your best, you got you here.
You got you here.
Clearly,
so how
something...
the fuck are you gonna get you out?
Yeah.
You know, and then from there it's like you make a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself, and then you tell yourself, you admit to yourself, to God, you tell that inventory to yourself, to another person, your sponsor, because the sponsor takes you through these steps. Anyway, so I just immersed myself in the program, and I just was like convinced, like 100%, like I cannot go back to doing this. Like my life is going to change completely. And it was wild because I had a complete and total shift in my value system, 100% shift, where it was just like, all right, like this sucks. Like I'm in a halfway house. I don't have screens on my doors. Like whoever slept on this bed before clearly was a bedwetter. You know, there's piss all over my mattress. Like my pillows are stained yellow. You know, like there's a guy on a mattress fucking a wino in the alley right here. You know, like just sucked. You know, but I was like, you know what, like. I got a dishwashing job and I ate shit, dude, for years. Ate shit. But I was like my happiness, clean, and in this program, and my freedom is like my greatest asset. And that was just like what I had to come to terms with. There was no program that can do that.
No.
And that's what sucks. Like, and that's just what worked for me. And so like what was cool for me though,
you said something important. You said I changed my value system.
I changed my value system 100%.
What was one value that like you adopted that you didn't have before?
Surrender. I think that surrender was one of the biggest values in acceptance. Is that like I used to struggle with accepting anything I couldn't control. When things didn't go my way, when just anything I didn't agree with was a struggle. You know, any difference of opinion, I just didn't have any, like I couldn't handle that. And so I got loaded all the time. You know, like if my state of mind wasn't good, if my partner wasn't doing what I wanted him to, like everything was fucked. Yeah, like I couldn't handle life on life's terms at all. And so one of the things is that like real quick, within 30 days, I had to learn how to handle life on life's terms, and I started having to implement things like one, the willingness to give things a chance, you know, and learn how to accept things. Like I remember there's this amazing passage in the Big Book about acceptance, and it's pretty much just like this idea that like nothing happens in God's world by mistake, and like if I am completely unwilling, and by the way, I'm not a person of God either, but the message is pretty much just like acceptance is the solution to all of my problems today, and if I can't accept some person, place, thing, or situation, you know, then I'm going to be bound to live in this really, really miserable place. And so like my value shifted towards spirituality. Generally, I started to incorporate spiritual principles.
That's crazy.
I incorporated spiritual principles.
Dude, I'm getting goosebumps right now.
It was wild, yeah. And so I was just like, you know what? Like I'm gonna be focusing on serenity and serendipity. And so what happened was I struggled to accept the chaos and the randomness of everyday life. Like I missed a bus, and it would be weird because like I would miss a bus, and then I'd be like, fuck. I just chain smoked so much back then. I was smoking like 3-4 packs a day, all my money. I barely ate like a burrito a day, just chain smoked and drank coffee at meetings. And I'd miss a bus, and it would just be like, oh fuck, like my life is out of control. I missed this bus, and I'd get on the next bus, and something would happen, a thought, or I'd have an encounter with somebody or something, and I'd just be like, this was absolutely determined. Like this was totally meant to be. Like if I hadn't missed this bus, like my life wouldn't be the same. And that was just like the approach I took for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like every single thing that happened was for a reason, and it was a positive. And it was crazy. And then you know it was also that I found a community. You know, the community of the program of recovery was just amazing. I went like way up.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, like I became like I started out as a coffee maker at a meeting. Then I became a secretary at a meeting. Then I became a literature guy at a meeting. And then I became a chairman at the Alano Club. And then I became the vice president of the San Diego Alano Club. Like I just like climbed up through the ranks. And then I started like going to conventions and getting like I got to speak at some conventions and
no one likes the program this much. You're a
lot of
fucking
people
fake.
do. I know. That was what the judge was like. You know, and they were like, yeah, right. Like, you're full of shit. And I'm like,